going to speak about something a little bit different than probably what most of you think about when you think about, oops, did it work? There we go. When you think about mergers and acquisitions, I think at a startup, most of us think about being acquired or being merged into another company. I've been doing startups for a long time. I won't go into how long, it'll just age me. But I will tell you that acquiring companies is a very effective methodology to meet strategic goals and to grow the company, even as a startup. But it's not an easy thing, and you don't have a lot of staff to do it. So this is about how to do that and my experience with multiple companies in doing that. For me, like I said, I've been doing startups for quite a while. My first one went public in the 80s, and my second one, I followed the VP of sales that hired me, and he was the first president of Cisco. So I followed an IPO and then Cisco as it was going IPO, and I thought life was really, really easy. It's not that easy in a startup. And I followed that by becoming part of management teams of actually, I think 9 startups at this point throughout the years. 3 were acquired. A couple just kind of floundered, and a couple we had to shut down. And it's true that you learn as much from your failures as your successes, but I have all of them. Right now, I'm the general manager of one of our acquisitions, which is a very strategic acquisition, but I also own responsibility for corporate and business development worldwide, and I actually set up the sales organization before we hired a VP of sales. So just a quick commercial on Digital Guardian. We are a little bit different than I think most of you here, and I've talked to quite a few people that we are an existing company. The group that is the management team, which I'm a part of, this is the second turnaround we've done. We took over our first company, Nitro Security, was basically a sub-$1 million company with technology, and we built the company to about $36 million, sold it to McAfee. What we're doing with Digital Guardian, it was a company that had gotten to $38 million in sales and dropped down to $20 million, and we built it back up to the mid-40s, and we just closed a round of $66 million right at the end of the year, which will take us to profitability and hopefully IPO. And we're looking to basically grow the company to about $75 million this year. So it's a little bit different than most of what you think, but even when we were Nitro Security, we did multiple acquisitions. So far at Digital Guardian, we've done 3. We've done one tactical, one strategic tactical, and one very strategic, and I'll talk a little bit about those as I go through the actual process. So the question being, is it really worth it to waste your time looking at mergers and acquisitions as a startup? And I'm here to tell you the answer is absolutely yes. It is worth the time, and it's a methodology that very few startups effectively use, so you will definitely be in the minority. And right now is a great time to do it. Some of you may be in this position on the negative side, but money isn't very available right now. And it's tough being in a startup. It's tough giving up the ownership of the company and doing things. But there's a lot of opportunity to merge and or acquire right now. So real quick, we have done both tactical and strategic types of acquisitions, and we've been acquired. Like I said, I've been acquired multiple times. From a technology perspective and tactical, typically we look at, is there a small hole to fill that we can get a technology to plug in? Strategically really is what I want to focus on here, because it requires a real process. It requires you to really understand certain things, ask questions, and really be a cohesive team to analyze and determine what the right method and right way to go is. Because as a startup, when you make an acquisition, you're giving up a major chunk of stock and possibly a major chunk of investor money, plus you have to justify it to your investors, and it's not an easy thing to do. So I'm going to go through each one of those questions pretty quickly, given it's 10 minutes, and that's not very long. And I've never talked in 10 minutes or less in my life, so this is going to be interesting. I think the most important question, the most important thing to focus on if you're going to look at acquiring, whether it's tactically technology or strategically acquiring a company, is to truly understand what your company's strategy is. And it's not the value prop statement that you did on the investor slides. It truly is what's your strategy from a product, from a problem, from a market, from a go-to-market, from a culture of the company. It's an all-encompassing type of thing that you really have to understand what your company's all about and where you want to go. And in the immortal words of Yogi Berra, if you don't know where you're going, you almost never get there. And that's a very true statement for strategy. If you don't have a strategic direction, you'll just bound all around. So understanding your strategy is really important. And the 3 acquisitions we've made at Digital Guardian are all for different reasons. We did one very tactically in Armor 5 for technology. We did one that was part tactical, part strategic with Savant protection. The tactical part was to fit a need that was very specific to certain types of environments like the SCADA and industrial control system, or the POS and ATM environment, which we did not have a product control. But it was also very tactical. And our overall strategy was really looking at how to decrease attack surfaces of devices and users so there's less to attack. And this was a technology that got us there. Whereas Code Green out of Sunnyvale was very much all strategic. The first month we were in the new company, we made a decision. This is a type of technology and product that we needed to acquire. And it took us 2 years to get there. So a second, almost as important, is culture. And if everyone here hasn't seen the Netflix CEO, I forget his name now, that did a culture presentation a couple years ago, you ought to do a search and look at it. And my favorite slide in there is culture is not what's in your value statement or what you say. It's who you hire, fire, and promote. And to me, that really nets out what culture is all about, because it's not about what you say. It's about what you do. It's about what you value. It's about what you hold important and what you hold unimportant. It really creates the value in the culture. And if you're looking to acquire a company or to merge into a company, the number one most important thing that you'll find out from a success perspective is, do the cultures fit? And if I had more time, I could tell you a bunch of stories about that. But believe me, culture is very, very important. A third one, and something that sounds really overly simplistic, but it's really hard to know what you're buying. I mean, the concept of due diligence is primarily viewed as a technical and financial and talk to the customers, but it's way beyond that. Knowing what you're buying is all about knowing the people, how they react, if the answers are true, and it goes everything from how they sell to the markets they're in, to the product, to the code, to the finances, to how they interact with customers, not that they just have customers. You can ask questions just ad nauseum about what it's like to actually do due diligence. So you have to be willing to really dig in, ask a lot of hard questions, and keep asking that next question until you feel you know that everything you need to know. And the ultimate goal is to integrate the company in. So you have to take a step back after doing all this soul searching and information gathering and really ask the question, can we integrate it? It may be wonderful in every way, but can we integrate it, and can we get to where we want to get to, which goes back to the original question of why you're talking to them. So you really have to keep coming back around and saying, is this right? Is this going to get us to where we want to get to? And the question that everyone usually asks first is, what's the price? And I put this last in the 5 questions specifically for a reason. And that reason is, it's not about the price. You can only talk about what it's going to cost you to do that from a price perspective when you understand the value and the challenges that are coming up in front of you. So it really is the last thing. Now, having said that, one of our acquisitions was made with price first, because one of our board members is on the board of an incubator and said, these guys ran out of money, they have great technology and not a product, I think it fits, and they're cheap. And so we looked at it and it was a technology fit, and we kept it. So with that, basically one slide that tried to summarize it all, and I'm looking at the slide 1 minute. So with that, I'm going to quit early because that's a whole lot of information in a very, very short time frame. But what I will say to everybody is truly look at ways to merge and to acquire as ways to get to whether it's your strategic goals, your growth goals, fill out your products, fill out your teams. There's a lot of reasons to look at this. And it's something that as young entrepreneurs that typically startup companies don't really look at. They look at the upward, looking upstream as who's going to acquire us, whereas acquiring companies is really a valid way to go. So with that, I say thank you.